Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our daily devotional. My name is Mark Simpson, and I'm so glad that you've taken the time to be with us today. So we are currently on a journey. It's a 21-day journey through the 21 chapters of the Gospel of John, and today is day 2. And so we are going to look at John chapter 2 and just see what God has to say to us through this amazing chapter. So if you haven't already, I really encourage you to take some time to read through this chapter, and I do believe that God will speak profoundly to you. So, John chapter 2, what are the things that kind of stand out? Well, this particular chapter has two main themes, if you like. Two things happen. The first, a story that many will know very well, is the story of when Jesus turned water into wine. The second is when Jesus went into the temple and cleared out the money changers, reminding people that God's house was supposed to be a place of connection and intimacy with Him. But when I look at this chapter, what stands out for me is the story of when He turned water into wine. If you don't know it, this was the first miracle that Jesus did. He went to a wedding with His family, and on day 3 of the wedding, they ran out of wine. And so Jesus takes, as the Bible tells us, 6 stone water jars that were used by the Jews for purification purposes. And He takes the water and He turns it into wine. And there's great celebration at this particular wedding. Now, when I look at this story, I think on one level, it really speaks of the goodness of God, the kindness of God. It speaks of the generosity of God, that God's kingdom is just full of life and full of joy. But when I look at the story a little bit deeper, for me it carries almost like a hidden message. It carries a prophetic message. And I do believe that it speaks of why Jesus came to the earth. Now, it says the following in verse 1. On the 3rd day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Now, when I read the 3rd day, for me, I think of this as speaking of the death and the resurrection of Jesus. He was dead for 3 days. On the 3rd day, He rose again. And when I think about a wedding, I'm reminded that the Bible speaks about how Jesus is the groom and we are the bride. So I think this particular story is speaking about what He came to do. If you go a little bit further along, you will see that He takes 6 stone water jars. He turns them into wine. Now, what is that all about? Well, these 6 stone water jars were what the Jews used to use to seek to purify themselves. It was what they used in order to be made right in the eyes of God. Jesus takes that very thing, that symbol, and He turns that into wine. I think there's something there. I think it's Jesus is saying something like this. I came to reposition you from what people talk about as the old covenant into the new covenant. See, the old covenant was that we were made right in God's eyes based on what we do. But the new covenant is that we are made right in God's eyes based on what He has done. So when Jesus turns the water into wine, He comes to these 6 stone water jars. He's saying, no longer will you be made right in my eyes based on what you do, but based on what I have done. So for me, the story is a message of grace. So I want to say to you today, as you live your day out, I want to encourage you that Jesus came to bring outrageous, extravagant grace to you, that we are not made right in God's eyes based on what we do, but based on what He has done for us. And that's what I think the story is encouraging us to believe. So have a great day, everybody. Live in the incredible grace of God, and don't forget that you are loved. Hope to see you tomorrow in John chapter 3. Have a wonderful day.